Alright everybody, welcome back to a new video. I'm not going to do much of an intro today, I just woke up. But I'm going to be going over All-Star Tower Defense X today, and I want you to share your opinions and what you think about the new game in the comments, and kind of what you think about what I'm going to talk about. Anyway, let's get right into it. First thing that I'm going to talk about is the UI. So, there's a lot of haters. There's a lot of people hating on the UI, and unfortunately I'm one of them. Or I'm not like hating on the UI, but I don't really like it. I feel like it doesn't really capture the style that OG All-Star Tower Defense kind of promised to kind of set the bar for. I feel like this UI is much more catered towards like new gen tower defense games and whatnot. But you know, it is a new gen tower defense game, so you know how I can't really maul about that. But yeah, the new UI isn't so great. I just feel like it's not very smooth. Looks kind of like dopamine farmy, kind of cash grabby, like most of the other new gen tower defense games today. And I was kind of hoping that this game wouldn't portray that kind of style, but it if you've played it, or if you don't even have to play it. If you've even watched my last video, or even like seen the trailer, you might see a little bit of the UI, and you might agree, you might not. Let me know how you feel about that statement down in the comments, because I know there's some people that probably love the UI and saying that I'm an idiot and that I'm just being whiny or whatever. But I know there's also people who aren't the biggest fan of it. And yes, it is always subject to change, and I'm kind of holding on to my little last amount of copium here and kind of hoping it changes. But yeah. Next thing I want to go over is a topic that honestly kind of makes me sad. If you've even loaded into the game, I'm sure that you've seen how many ridiculous game passes and bundles there are. With the stat cubes or whatever, those are buyable. I'm pretty sure rerolls are buyable. There's these 8,000, like 2,000 crazy Robux bundles or just game passes, and I don't think they even do anything. Because their description is just like, trade value will go up in the future. Like, bro, and the craziest thing is, like, I think like 50 people have already bought the 8,000 Robux one. That's $100, by the way, on something you don't know what it does, because it doesn't have like a very in-depth description of what it does and what it doesn't do. The Itis link, I think that's insane. I think that's ridiculous that people have even bought that without knowing what it does, because, I mean, there's no video on it, I'm pretty sure. There might be by the time this comes out, but, I mean, that is just ridiculous. There's these bundles everywhere you go. There's like game passes kind of almost it feels like being like shoved down your throat. It's kind of crowding you, and I'm not the biggest fan of that. I like how All-Star used to be, where it was very free-to-play friendly. They wouldn't shove game passes down your throat, you know. It's actually how it used to be for the majority of the game. Is there wasn't many game passes at all, but they obviously still made money because the game was running for a pretty long time. And there's that. I want to talk about the map. I actually really like the map. I think the map is an amazing addition to the game. It really resembles the old game. In fact, that's one of the only things, in my opinion, that actually portrays the old game. It just looks like the old All-Star map, which, you know, if you played during that time, you'd know that, I mean, wow, it was so peak. But it just looks like that, but kind of upgraded. It looks more freshened up, kind of revamped. And I actually like that. I like that a lot. Now, I'm wondering how they're going to change it in the future, or if they're going to change it, but for now, I don't think that should be on my plate. Next thing I want to talk about the music. OG music is in the game. That's great. Actually, that's great, because that is one of the core parts of old All-Star Tower Defense. And if it wasn't in the game, I think a lot of people would be very upset. The classic, you know, I love you. I'll try to find a clip of that so I can edit that out. But yeah, that's in the game and whatnot, and I think that's great. It kind of brings you back. And along with the in-game battle music, or whatever you would like to call that when you're doing a story mode, that actually it does resemble All-Star Tower Defense. It sounds pretty similar, I would say. So there's that. I actually don't have a problem with the music or the map or anything. It's just mainly the UI. I think the UI is kind of strange. Another thing I'm kind of sad about is the evolution system. That's changed. It's to put it plain and simple, it's just like every other new gen tower defense game now, where you need certain items or whatnot that you craft to evolve instead of maybe items and fodder units, how it used to be. And I don't know actually what the community is on, you know, terms with that system, but I personally enjoyed it, having to farm fodder units or whatever. But that's not that big of a change. There's XP units are still in the game, by the way. They just look kind of strange now. They look kind of weird. But there's that. Those are still in the game. The banner section of the UI, I actually really do enjoy the banner. I think that's great. I don't like something new in the game, the 4 placement only. I think that's very strange. I liked the 8 placement more, but Navy said it was to reduce lag. We also have traits. For the most part, they're good. They aren't very bad. They aren't overpowered. Until you scroll to the bottom, you know, there's the Monarch. Whatever. We kind of knew that was going to come. Plus 300% It's just ridiculous. Literally ridiculous. But that is, I wonder if that's going to affect the game more than they thought. Because they have been preaching for a pretty long time now that traits will not be like ALS or AV, that they are not necessary. You can beat the entire game without traits and still do fine. But I don't know. I think with a trait like that, it's gonna affect the game more than they thought it would. Maybe they were just kind of blind, or maybe they were just kind of making false promises, and it's not like All-Star isn't known for that. But yeah, drop what you think about, you know, all the things I yapped about, and if you whoever made it this far, drop it down in the comments. I just kind of want to hear your guys' opinion, and if you want to see me make videos on this game, because if you guys want me to, of course I will. All right, later.